Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channels. I just wanted to come on and let you guys know that we're going to be playing a couple very, very important interviews for the next couple hours. Okay, one of them we just recorded with very, very good friend of the show, Dennis Schroader, from the Price of Freedom Foundation. Okay, the first part of this interview is talking about the Price of Freedom Foundation and how important their work is. After that, he's talking about a brand new program that Dennis is involved in, and how to rescue your business. The second video is going to start immediately after that, probably around the top of the hour, a little after the top of the hour, and probably around 15 after 5 o'clock. That is last night's episode of Pact. If you know any nonprofits, if you are friends of any nonprofits, have them watch this episode with my friend Les. Very important information about how you can, as a nonprofit, make money while supporting your supporters, helping them save money. That way they can possibly donate more money or at least continue to support you. So this first interview is I did with Dennis Schroader. These are going to be split up in two because, well, they're both recorded. So as soon as this show is over, just click on the next video that's going to pop up around 5:15 and watch with Les Simpson. Very important information on both of them. So great gentlemen, both of these guys. I'm huge fans of both of these gentlemen, and I hope that that you will stay with us because this is such great information about helping your business and helping our veterans. So this first one is Dennis Schroader with the Price of Freedom Foundation. Please let me know if you have any questions. My name is Zach Clayton, 970-909-0751, 970-909-0751. I'll put my QR code up in this corner while you're watching this. So if you have any questions, all you got to do is scan that and you can get a hold of me. So here we go. This is Dennis Schroader with the Price of Freedom Foundation. Hey everybody, Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channels.
I've already said that.
Here with a person that most of you will not need a huge introduction to because Dennis has become part of all the programming that we're doing here on the PAC channel. He's a huge part of the membership family for Footprints Forward. Dennis has worked with me. Dennis, you did a live from the cemetery on Veterans Day, which is still something that I get to go and watch, or Memorial Day. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I actually just rewatched that yesterday. I was going through and trying to clean up my computer and I saw that. And so I watched it again yesterday. So, but Dennis, your main calling in life is the Price of Freedom Foundation.
That is what my calling is from about 5 years ago, moving forward. Clearly I'm older. I'm 67 years old now. I spent a career in the Army. I was a medical service corps officer for the Army for 24 years, all told. It was kind of not a traditional career, but spent 24 years total. Both 22 and a half of those were full-time active duty and about a year and a half as a drilling reservist. So I've seen both sides, the active component, reserve component side for those who are or have been military, that's a distinction that they'll understand. Others may not. But yes, I mean, I was raised in a Navy family, so being in and around the military was pretty much all of my life. And the Price of Freedom Foundation was uh, was an idea that came to me years after I retired, but it was born out of a sense of um, we just need to do better for those families of those who have paid the ultimate price for our freedom. You know, there's all kinds of different ways that you can define what the price of freedom is, and I would say that everybody who serves has paid some price for that, but for those who have died while in military service, that is absolutely the ultimate price. And there are a handful of folks that get national recognition, national attention. Pat Tillman comes to mind
Yeah.
as probably the
Well
most
deserved.
well known, and
Well
absolutely
deserved.
those are well deserved.
Yeah.
But what struck me was that the vast majority um, get nothing close to that kind of um, um, attention. And one of the things that the those who are left behind, the families, the Gold Star families, their number one biggest issue is the fear and the actual realization that a year to 2 years after their loved one has died, that except for the family and a small circle of friends around them, that person's forgotten. And even those that are honored by naming a street or a bridge or a building or you know a park or something like that that are named after them, um, you really don't get the sense of who that person really was. And every single Gold Star family member that I've spoken with has echoed the same sentiment that um, that that people don't really know, and they know a name, but that's about all that they know.
That's so,
Maybe
yeah, that's so beautifully stated because you don't know the story behind it. You know you may recognize the name as a young individual from the town, or maybe he or she was a popular athlete in high school or something. You may know a little bit of the story, but you don't know the person. And I love that statement. The other statement, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but i've
no,
been
that's
i've
fine.
been dying to say this. The other statement that you said that I cannot, and you said it over and over again, and I cannot agree with you more, is we just need to do more. And that is so important when I hear a veteran say that. When I say it, it's almost blasé, I think, because I'm not a veteran. But when I hear a veteran say that, it strikes at the core of me
Hmm.
personally, because you're right. We do need to do more, and it and
Right,
it it should that's on all of us. That's not just
right.
on one person. So I'll
And
let you
I
continue, but I
sure,
I
and I'd like
honestly
to
had to get that in there.
that's absolutely. I appreciate you saying that very much. And it really kind of there's a tangent to this that I want to talk about. And the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of companies out there that are right now trying to get people to tell their stories while they're still living. And I would encourage everyone to look into that and to take that seriously and to
Hmm.
do something about that so that your family, your children, your grandchildren, etc., are not in the position that these families that we're trying to help are in, because there's no one that knows your story better than you do. So that's not our business. That's not the service that we provide, but there are plenty of them that are out there. And yes, there's a cost to that, but honestly, I think it's worthwhile. For us, what we want to do is to help those families where those stories are not collected. So what we'll do is we start with, we're basically doing two things. We'll work with primarily the Gold Star families. We get their permission to do research on their lost loved one. We'll find as many people as possible who are still around that knew their loved one throughout the course of their life, from their birth all the way to their death. We will ask their permission to help tell this story, do an in-depth interview with them, ask for copies of anything that they may possess that will help to tell that story. So copies of personal letters, photos, videos, if they were in the newspaper or anything like that. We'll also ask for copies of their military records. And when you do that with 10, 15, 20 people who knew this person during different phases of their life, you're able to get a more complete picture. And what we know from our experience with the families that we worked with thus far is that it's a voyage of discovery for each and every one of them. Nobody has known the full story. So we are serving this family by being able to bring to light and bring to their attention aspects of their loved one's life that they did not know, they were not aware of until we did this for them. But secondly, what we want to do is to tell this, and we want to preserve this so that it can be passed down to future generations. So we hand all of this information over to a writer who will take all of that. We'll do some research as well. So we'll get some volunteer researchers to try and fill in some of the details about what was going on in those places where this person was assigned or where they lived. That can help kind of set the stage, so to speak. And these are typically details that are not brought out during the interviews. And with that combination, the writer then can tell the story in a single voice from beginning to end. Keith Hayden was our first writer. He's a Air Force Academy graduate. He had written 2 other books previously. And he did a great job with our first book, Silent Soul, the Machinist Mate First Class Alfonso Abdalemos story, which is available on all of the online book retailer places. But this is something now that this family can pass on to their to future generations. They're not going to be in a position where they have to go and do research on their own. They're not going to have to go to ancestry.com or other places like that. And I'm not knocking those places, but I'm saying that this is a service I believe that these families deserve. The second way we do this is by starting with a veteran. So if a veteran has served and has a buddy that they lost that while they were on active duty, people think about this as a loss that happened during combat, and certainly we want to honor those combat losses. However, we are not restricting these stories to combat losses, training accidents, vehicle accidents when they're at the base where they're assigned, somebody getting sick and passing away from that illness, even suicides. We believe that all of these losses are horrendous and terrible for those families, and we believe that these stories deserve to be told. And so that's what we're all about. And we do have our first story out. We've got a few more families that we're working with. We would love to be able to work with more families, and I do recognize that these there's some hesitancy on the part of some of these families because we're asking them to open up some old wounds in many cases.
Right.
And I would say that I would encourage them to take a look at the work that we did for Alfonso Amos's family, so that you can see the quality of work and the sensitivity that we take towards telling these stories. Our number one goal is to tell the complete story honorably and truthfully. And that's a combination that I think that we're going to always have, because we're not going in here with any sort of agenda. We don't have any. We try and keep politics completely out of this as much as possible, because honestly, our armed forces have people of all political parties that are representative. We are a reflection of our society at large. So, all races, genders, basically it's the boy and girl next door who have joined, and they have lots of different reasons for joining.
Yeah.
But the common thread here is that these people paid the ultimate price, that price was paid for our freedom, and that we want their story told, and that's what we're about.
When they go in, they give their oath. They're not asked to, give their oath to a political party. They're
Right.
not asked to give an oath to the government. They're asked to give their oath to the Constitution and to the
Correct.
people of the United States. And you know, so I mean, and it is, and I think it's really neat the way that you guys are doing this, because one of the one of the things that's amazing is that a lot of people forget that somebody like even General Patton, he didn't die in action. He died in a Jeep accident.
Right.
Okay, that's how he died. And granted, we know a lot about him.
Right.
A lot of people didn't know that that's the way he passed away. But the great thing about it is you don't need to know how someone died. You need to know how they lived.
Correct.
And that's the best thing about what you guys are doing and what you guys are continuing to do. Um, Dennis, you guys are a very important part of Community Pay It Forward as one of our mission partners. You can support you can support Denison and the Price of Freedom Foundation by simply making a purchase with any of our partners, and that will turn into a donation for Dennis so they can continue to put out these wonderful books. Um, what are some of the things that you guys are really, really struggling to do right now?
Well, being able to fund the things that we want to do is
Yeah,
probably our biggest issue. Um, to be able to provide the books that we promised to the family. I mean, it was a learning curve for us. All of this was new to me when I started this, but we had to. The when people go to Amazon or Barnes and Noble, they're going to get a print on demand book, which is very good quality. But the difference between a print on demand book and an offset printing book is that the offset printing book is going to have two different paper types inside it. The section that has captioned photos will be on glossy paper versus the regular paper for the book, and that's what most traditional books that you're going to find in a regular bookstore that are biographies or histories are going to have. Um, One of the great things about print on demand is that it allows people who uh, were not connected to the big publishing houses, to be able to get their works published. But it is that little bit of a step down from the quality that we promised this family that we're going to give them. So we had to find a publisher or printer who was going to be able to give us a relatively small quantity of books that we could then purchase to give to this family. So Palmetto Publishing out of South Carolina, great company, love working with them. And instead of the 500 or 1,000 minimum print orders that most other printers require, they said, we believe in what you're doing, so let us do this. They set us up to have the print on demand for all the listeners to get your copy of the book in whatever format that you're looking for, whether that's hardcover, paperback, or ebook. We're still working on getting an audiobook made, So we'll have that available when we can afford to get that produced. But for the family, the offset printing, they said 100 copies is what it's going to take, and it was about $20 per copy printed and shipped to us. So that was $2,000. It took us, actually, we still have not raised the $2,000. I wound up putting about $600 on a credit card that, I don't I'm going to have to make payments on to be able to acquire that book and then give that. We don't have to give away 100 copies. We don't have that many people that we had interviewed. So one of the things that we had offered folks was that if you donate $40 or more towards this cause, that we will not only be giving a copy of the book to the family that you're supporting, but we'll also be giving a copy to you that I will personally autograph and ship to you. But even so, it's been a struggle that way. We're still trying to work out details of the ceremony that we want to do to present this book to the family. And I've never been involved in event planning and stuff like that, but it's not cheap. The USS Midway Museum is it costs to rent the facility. Machinist mate first class Amos had been twice assigned to the Midway. It's in San Diego. It's where most of his family and friends live now, and it made for a perfect setting for this. But we're going to have to pay anywhere from $500 to $1,000 just to rent that facility. We want to bring the writer from where he lives in Okinawa to the event, and that airfare alone is like $1,300 to $1,600. We'll have to put him up for 2 nights in a hotel while he's there in San Diego. That adds up very quickly. So printing and signage and all of that, it just adds up and up and up. So help with sponsoring those kinds of things would be fabulous. If we had a company that says, hey, we believe in this and we want to support this, and they can contribute $1,000 or more towards this, we're going to put their information and all of the signage and the materials that we hand out that day. We'll even ask them if they want to have somebody present and speak at the event. We haven't even talked about video. I know that in the long run, more people are going to watch a video than will ever read a book. And so we prepare for that eventuality by recording every single interview that we do. We have 44 hours worth of video prepared for our first story. But and I've got two film directors here in Middle Tennessee who've had a number of years of experience in Hollywood who are willing to help me, but we're still talking about probably $30,000 to $50,000 to get a documentary made. So these are not inexpensive things that we're wanting to do. We would love to have people that could come on board and help us in whatever way. Now, what you're offering and supporting us through Community Pay It Forward will help. There are a lot of other different ways that people can help. Volunteers that have skills in certain areas that we would otherwise have to pay for would be ways that I need researchers. I need additional writers. Keith spent 5 months of his life writing this book and did not ask for any money up front. Now, we have promised that we will be sharing royalties from any sales with him so that he will get compensated eventually. But I can't ask somebody to be doing this full time. Most folks are not in a position where they can do that. So if you are a writer, if you have either a track record of writing biographies, or you have a real heart for that, and want to be a writer for our future stories that we're working on, we'd love to have you come on board. Researchers, I had the benefit that Keith Hayden was a criminal investigator for the Air Force during his time on active duty. So he brought that researchers, that detectives mindset to the task, and he did the research himself for the first story. But it brought to my awareness the fact that we really need to have researchers, because if we only use the interviews and the other materials, we're not getting the whole story, and the whole story will be much better if we have somebody who can dig and pull up stuff that researchers are good at doing. So somebody who's done ancestry work would probably be a great fit for that volunteer role. And I'd be more than happy to talk with them about the stories that we're working on that we could use their help with. Having a representative in local areas that could be kind of like an advocate would be fabulous. I mean, I live in Middle Tennessee. I try to get out as much as possible, but I can't be everywhere. So, I would love to have a representative in every single state, and probably multiple in each states, especially the larger ones. But where you could, if you love what we're doing, you don't have to be doing all the other detail work, but just be somebody, a spokesperson that could go out and participate in events, have our literature, talk to folks, find veterans, find families that want to be served by what we're doing. Maybe do a little bit of fundraising while you're out there. We'd love to talk with you. And we're still a very small organization. So if I have somebody who comes to me and says, "Hey, Dennis, I can't do any of those things, but here's my idea," I'd say you've got a very good chance of me saying yes.
Yeah. Well, we actually got you on here because you have another announcement that you're going to make, but I want to put a little bit of a spin on this, and I want to talk to the younger generation here real quick when it comes to the Price of Freedom Foundation. One of the reasons why these books are so important, when I was in high school, and I know this is a long time ago, back when dirt were still humans. Okay. I mean, this is a long time ago. But I got to talk to somebody who was a ground medic in World War II. And this is an individual who never talked about his service. He didn't want to talk about his service at all. You got to remember, times were a lot different back then. Men were not allowed to show the pain that they felt, and the fear that they felt. It was unmanly to do that. And so a lot of these men, and during this time, yeah, there were some women there, but the women didn't see a lot of the battlefields, but they did see a lot of the nursing, and they had part in all of that. But he talked to me about his service, and Dennis, he said something to me that just really has stuck with me. And that was, I saw men who came in, they were missing pieces of their body, that I was thinking to myself, there's no way this young man's going home, that went home. There were people who came in that lost fingernails, that ended up dying on their table. And losing a fingernail is a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's true. I was an idiot because I really did not take and understand what I was listening to. And kids young people, anybody, when you're talking to a veteran, when you're talking to anybody, I'm going to tell you how important it is to really sit down and absorb. And that's one of the reasons why these books are so damn important, because these stories are here after the person is gone. Their stories are still here. I can't bring back this conversation with my grandfather. He lost his life to leukemia many years ago. I can't rehab that conversation with him now that I'm more of an adult and I'm not so much of a hot-headed jackass. I can't go back and I can't listen to that conversation, and it's something that I'm always going to regret. I think that's one of the reasons why these books are so important, and the other thing that's so important is these stories. These stories are needing to be told for a reason. So please help Dennis get these stories out, because these stories are there for a reason. These individuals, they fought. Maybe they didn't even fight for this country, but they served this country. They went through something that at this point in time, 1%, 1%, that's all that's joining our service right now. These stories are really important, and these are heroes. They deserve their stories told, and we need to support them. So, Dennis, how did they get a hold of you when it comes to the Price of Freedom Foundation?
Well, they can go to the website, which is www.priceoffreedomfoundation.org. They can call me directly at 615-389-1867. They can email, probably the easiest one is info@priceoffreedomfoundation.org. And I say it's easier because my last name is spelled a little differently than other Schroeders. So I'll just make that as simple as possible. We have a presence on LinkedIn, Facebook, uh, Instagram, and YouTube under the Price of Freedom Foundation on any of those platforms. And all of those have ways for you to message us and actually message me, because right now I'm the only one that's available to take those messages and respond to them, and I do my best to do that as quickly as possible. But I definitely appreciate the support people give us. You know, we've got about 12,000 followers on Facebook. Facebook doesn't let us really communicate with them very easily or well. They're quick to ask me to pay money to get
Yeah.
my message out to my own followers, but we do have a donate button in there. And what I would like to ask people to consider is, I don't want to dip into your pockets for a huge amount. I mean, if you have lots of cash available, great. We would love to have your help in that way. However, what I would say is that the vast majority of people, if you could afford $1 a month, just $1 a month, it would make a huge difference for us. And if you think about that, I mean, we've got over 12,000 followers on Facebook. If half of those followers would donate $1 a month, it would make it possible for us to fund the video aspect of what we want to do for these families, just like that. I mean, it would make a huge difference. So one person and only one person, no, but it's like a lot of other things in our life. It's the collective efforts that make big things possible. And so, that's, you can reach me however you want to, and we try to be as accessible as possible for that. So,
Well, and you know what? If even that $1 is a little bit difficult, Think of it this way. If you want to change your shopping habits for one item,
There you
go to
go.
community pay it forward, one item a month. That's going to result in more than a
Absolutely.
$1 donation.
And that's
So
what I love about what you guys do, because with with working with your partners, we're not asking people uh to really do much of anything other than shop at through your partner
yeah,
places. We're not asking you to make big changes to what you're doing.
yep,
So it's a small change that way.
yep. Simply adjust who you're shopping with. But let's make sure that we get these stories out here. Okay,
Yeah,
Dennis, you've got a side gig.
I
Tell us a
do.
little bit about it.
I do. So, my career as an Army officer was one where I did a lot of things where had to be thinking about systems and strategies and the like. And when I retired from the Army, the first couple of jobs that I had, well, first job that I had was a great job, but the company folded after about a year. But I was told by the CEO of the company that my efforts by themselves helped to keep the company afloat for about 3 months beyond what they would have otherwise. So I felt great about that. But I had this ability to get a sense for what people needed just by going in, asking a few questions, observing how they did business. And so I had this heart for helping businesses, because I ran a small property management company that I started for about 7 years, and I know firsthand how difficult it is to start a company and to stay afloat. There's always pressures on you, from a variety of sources. So a number of years ago, I had this opportunity to join an organization where I'm not the expert, but we are partnered with people who are very much experts in a variety of specialty areas. And the one that I'd say is probably
stepping out of her fear. Bring me home, out alone, show me the way. You wanna be a part of Sunset Boulevard.